Hear, O
Israel,
Yahweh our power
is one.
And thou shalt
love Yahweh thy power
with all thy
heart,
with all thy
and with all thy soul,
with all thy might.
and with all thy might.
And these words,
which I command thee this day
shall be in
thine heart,
and thou shalt teach them
diligently
unto thy
children,
and shalt talk of them
when thou sittest in thine
when thou sittest in thine house,
and when thou walkest by the way,
when thou liest
down,
when thou risest
and
up.
when thou risest up.
And thou shalt bind
them for a sign
upon
thine hand,
and they shall be as
frontlets
between thine
eyes,
and thou shalt write them
upon the posts of thy house
and on thy
and on thy
gates.
gates. Shemai, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Achad, Wahabta, Yahweh, Elohayaka, Bakal, Lababka, Wabakal, Napashka, Wabakal, Ma'adka, Hayawa, Hadabarium, Ha'alha, Asherah, Anakya, Matizawaka, Hayawam, Ail, Lababka, Shanantam, La, Banyakam, Dabartam, Bam, Bashabatka, Babayatka, Wabalakatka, Badarak, Bashakabka, Waba, Pawamka, Poshartam, La'awath, Ail, Yatka, Hayawa, Latatapath, Bayan, Ayanyaka, Katabtam, Ail, Mazazwath, Bayatka, Waba, Sha'aika. First greatest commandment. Second greatest commandment. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahweh. La'ah, Daquam, Wala'ah, Tatar, Atbanya, Anka, Wa'ahabta, Lara'aika, Kamawaka, Anya Yahweh. Our Father.
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
hallowed
be thy name.
Yahweh.
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be
done
in earth
as
it is in
heaven.
Give us
this day
our daily
bread,
and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Basham, Yahushua, Hamashiach. Amen. Abanawa, Shabashamayam, Kodash, Haya, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwatka, Taba'a, Ratzaka, Haya Aisha, Ratza, Kahaya, Bashamaya, Ladan Lanawa, Lakam, Kal Yawam, Wasalak Lanawa, Kabawak Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawak Yanawa, Wala'a, Dabaya Anawa, Manasaya One, Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Manrai, Kayalaka, Hamalakwath, Waha'ala, Wahata Pa'arat, Laiwalamyam, Basham, Hamashiach, Yahushai, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Anointing prayer. Yabaraka Yahweh, Wayashamarka, Aman. Ya'al Yahweh, Pan Yahweh, Ayaka, Wayakanka,
Aman.
Yasha'al Yahweh, Pan Yahweh, Ayaka, Wayashamlaka, Shalom.
Aman.
Yahweh bless thee and keep thee.
Aman.
Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee.
Aman.
Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace.
Aman.
Bashem,
Yahushai, Hamashiach, Aman. I might come, shall come. Go to Exodus 31 real quick. It was Exodus 31, verse 12 through 17, pertaining to the Shabbat. Exodus chapter 12, Exodus 31, verse 12. Read. Amatka.
Exodus 31, verse 12 through 17. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying,
So the words of Yahweh to Moses to give to the children of Israel. Go ahead.
Speak thou also unto the children of Yasha'ala.
Speak unto the children of Yasha'ala, which is Bani Yasha'ala, which is us and which is you. Go ahead.
Saying, verily my Shabbat ye shall keep.
We shall keep guard and protect the Sabbath day at all costs. Read.
For it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations.
The Sabbath is the sign, is the token, is the seal between us and Yahweh to have that relationship to begin to make atonement toward Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. It is the sign between us and Yahweh. So when Yahweh sees us observing the Shabbat and keeping it holy, it's a sign to him that we love him and we choose to obey him and put all things and put him before all things. And it's a sign to us of Yahweh's mercy, his grace, and his love toward us. Go ahead.
That ye may know that I am Yahweh that doth sanctify you.
Go ahead.
Ye shall keep the Shabbat therefore.
You should keep the Sabbath, meaning you shall make the Sabbath a protection. Protect the Sabbath at all costs. Go ahead.
For it is holy unto you.
It is holy, it is set apart unto us. So we must keep it and protect it and make it set apart for us. All our dealings, all our words, we must make sure it stays as a holy day, a set apart day, a special exalted day. Not a day to just do our own thing and to seek our own ways. Go ahead.
Everyone that defileth it.
Anyone that defiles, means takes away from, meaning to corrupt, meaning your boss, meaning you because of your boss. If you corrupt, if you defile, if you do something that is unclean or unholy on a Shabbat day, like light your stove to cook, lie and sell, like do your own pleasure. Go ahead.
Shall surely die.
The Most High said death is the sentence for committing a sin. And the only way to escape this death sentence is atonement by the blood of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. But if you sin after you repent, there's no more sacrifice for your sin. Now that's between you and the Most High. That's what we read in the book of Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. All right, go ahead.
For whosoever doeth any work therein.
Anybody that does work, you going out there doing work on the Sabbath day, go ahead.
That soul shall be cut off from among his people.
The Most High said your soul is going to get cut off. Go ahead.
6 days may work be done.
You have 6 days to do all the work that you want to do, which is the primary requirement of the Sabbath is to refrain from doing work. There are other requirements that we must enact to keep the Sabbath, but this is the primary one, not to work. Go ahead.
But in the seventh is the Shabbat of rest.
And the seventh is the rest of rest. So you've been resting all week. Now you have a double rest on the Shabbat. You've been resting every day. You go to sleep, you go to nighttime. But on the Sabbath, you're supposed to make sure you get more rest of rest. On the Sabbath day, you're supposed to make sure your body is super relaxed, super reposed. El día de reposo. Go ahead.
Holy to Yahweh.
Go ahead. Holy to Yahweh. So if you work on that day, you're doing something that is unholy to Yahweh. Go ahead.
Whosoever doeth any work in the
If
Shabbat.
any person, whosoever is what it says. Go ahead.
Doeth any work in the Shabbat.
Mm-hmm.
He shall surely be put to death.
Go ahead.
Wherefore the children of Yasha'Allah shall keep the Shabbat.
So keep means shamar, which means protect, to preserve, to guard. Go ahead.
To observe the Shabbat throughout their generations.
Go ahead.
For a perpetual covenant.
A perpetual covenant forever. We're supposed to keep the Sabbath. Now, when we got conquered by the so-called, by the Edomites, when they conquered us on the reservations, when they conquered us in Mexico, when they brought us on slave ships, we didn't know about the Sabbath. The generations most of the generations have forgotten about the Shabbat because they got caught up into doing wickedness and idolatry. So now once we know about the Sabbath, now we're held responsible. We can't worry about what the slaves did and didn't know. Can't worry about imagination. We got to worry about what we know. So once we know about the Shabbat, we have to keep it holy. Go ahead.
It is a sign between me and the children of Yasha'Allah forever.
Forever. Even right now in the year 2019, 2020, 2075, whatever year you want to call it, the Most High says that the Sabbath is a sign between us and Him. So if you are defiling the Sabbath, making excuses for the Sabbath, then you don't have that sign between yourself and the Most High. Go ahead.
For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth.
Go ahead.
And on the 7th day He rested and was refreshed.
So that's it. 7th day Yahweh rested and was refreshed. All right. So that's all we want to do with the Shabbat understanding. All right. Safka.
So this week's Torah portion, we'll be reading from Genesis, the 44th chapter, starting from verse 18.
Let's slow it down a little bit. Go back to that. Do it again.
Okay, this week's Torah portion, we'll be reading from Genesis, the 44th chapter.
Genesis 44. Everybody got that?
Verse 18. Going all the way over to Genesis 47, verse 27.
44, 18, 47, 27.
The Haftorah is in Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, verses 15 to verse 28. And the Besoura, we'll be reading in Luke, 24th chapter, verses 30 to verse 48.
We did Luke last week too, right? 24. Didn't we do Luke 24 last week? Yeah. All right, so guess we'll do it in English. Maybe we need to probably do it in Hebrew after we finish doing it in English right here.
And this week's Torah portion is Vayigash.
What is it?
Vayigash.
Someone's got on Haftorah. Who got on Haftorah right here? Okay. We'll put this where it is.
Which means he approached.
Okay. Vayigash. Vayigash.
So we're continuing with the story of Joseph down in Egypt, and now his brothers have approached him seeking food.
47 more verse?
Picking up in verse 18.
All right, and real quick, as a quick 18.
All right, we ended at 17.
Oh, 44, 18, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was looking at 47, 18. All right, let's go. Who's going? All right. I might come. Barak.
Yabarakam Yahweh Bashem Yahushai.
Did they do anything? All right, so chapter 44, verse
18.
18.
White cord. Charge.
Tacky. It was right there. It was right there. You see it?
Okay. Oh yeah, Sean. Come up and give him a hand.
Then Judah approached him and said, "If you please, my lord, may your servant speak a word in my lord's ears, and let not your anger flare up at your servant, for you are like Pharaoh, my lord, asked his servants, saying, have you a father or brother? And he said to my lord, we have an old father and a young child of his old age. His brother is dead. He alone is left from his mother, and his father loves him. Then you said, you are servants. Then you said to your servants, bring him down to me, and I will set my eyes on him. We said to my lord, the youth cannot leave his father.
Read a little louder, man. They can't hear you on there. Read louder.
For should he leave his father, he will die. But you said to your servants, if your youngest brother does not come down with you, you will not see my face again. And it was when we went up to your servants, my father, we told him my Lord's words. And our father said, go back, boy, buy us some food. We said, we cannot go down alone if our youngest brother is with us, then we will go down, for we cannot see the man's face if our youngest brother is not with us. Then your servants, my father, said to us, you know that my wife bore me 2 sons. One has left me and I presumed, alas.
And I presumed, right? One has left me and I presumed, alas. He what?
Alas, he has surely been torn to pieces, for I have not seen him since. So should...
When there's a period, you need to stop. Pause. So everything that they did to Joseph now is backfiring on them, but it's going to end up helping them. So now they putting Joseph has been put in a situation where he's the ruler over everything. And he's making his brother feel the pain and be worried about the life of their brothers, Simeon and now Benjamin. Okay? And now Benjamin. So now they came back and they told Benjamin that he's a crook, he's a criminal. And now everybody's worried because now they think that our father Jacob is going to get a heart attack or die because now Benjamin is going to be left without his father. Okay, go ahead.
Down my holiness and evil to the grave. And now if I come to your servants, my father, and the youth is not with us, since his soul is so bound up with his soul.
So you have to understand also that this is a very, very important and a very bold move that our people are engaging in right now. Because they're standing up against a man that has the power of life and death over their souls. All right, I mean, they're not their soul, but their body. He can destroy them. Because they're talking back to the leader, to the king. He can destroy and just, he doesn't have to answer to anyone.
Okay.
So they being very bold. So they said, we're not going to do the same that we did last time. So they learn from their mistakes. And that's the same attitude that we need to have when we work on a Sabbath day. We need to say, you know what? Yahweh don't like me to work on a Sabbath day. So next Sabbath, I'm not working. Next Sabbath, I'm not cooking. Next Sabbath, I'm not going to the mall to buy and sell. Next Sabbath, I'm not going to make myself unclean with my seed or by doing things that are unclean on the Shabbat day. So our brothers, our forefathers, learned from the mistake of the sin that they committed. Now we also have to make sure we learn from our sins. That's what repentance is, to turn away from your sins. Okay, go ahead.
It will happen that when he sees the youth is missing.
That's it.
So they say their two lives are tied up together. All right. So Yaakov, Jacob, has been in like a depression since Joseph went missing. All right, next read.
Okay, pick up, read verse 31 and go over to verse 45, verse 7.
Verse 31 to 7. Go ahead.
It will happen that when he sees the youth is missing, he will die, and your servants will have brought down the holiness of your servant, our father, in sorrow to the grave.
So he said if he dies, it's going to be our fault. Go ahead.
For your servant took responsibility for the youth from my father, saying, if I do not bring him back to you, then I will have sinned to my father for all time.
And how ironic is this, that Judah is the main one that's stepping in to save Benjamin, because Joseph wants to harm him, that they think that Joseph wants to harm him. And now here Judah is now persecuting Ephraim, persecuting Issachar, saying that those brothers are not Israelites, which is a lie, as they say, from the pits of hell.
Okay.
All right, Geronimo, Tecumseh, Sitting Bull is just as much of an Israelite as Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman. Okay? Just as much an Israelite as Montezuma. All right? So all of these people are Israelites. So here Judah is intervening, saying, we don't want our father to experience this pain and anguish again because of this division, this traumatic division in our family that happened years ago. And here our people are now engaging in that same traumatic division, bringing shame to the house of Jacob. Go ahead.
Now, therefore, please let your servant remain instead of you.
Let me stay. Judah said, let me stay instead of Benjamin. So he doesn't want to make the same mistake twice. Go ahead.
As a servant to my Lord, and let the youth go up with his brothers. For how can I go up to my father if the youth is not with me?
That's the respect he has for his father also. He'd rather suffer as a servant than see his own brother be kept as a servant in Egypt And then that gives a lot of depression to Jacob. He doesn't want his father to go through that. That's the level of respect he has for his father. But a lot of you children nowadays don't have respect for your mothers and fathers to humble yourself to do things that are going to make them better, that are going to make them happy. You worry about yourself, what you want to do, what makes you happy, and you say, to hell with your family, to hell with your father, to hell with your mother. If your mother and father are walking upright in the laws, commandments, and statutes of Yahweh, all right, you should have the highest level of respect, honor, and obedience to them. And that's what Judah is showing right now. We have the highest level of respect for our father. And keep me as a slave so that my father does not go into a depression and sadness, all right, and die because Benjamin is going to get taken away from him. All right, go ahead.
Lest I see the evil that will befall my father, Kalashran, Debar Yahweh,
Na'ishah, Wanashemai.
All
that Yahweh said.
What we doing here?
What we doing here. Right, go ahead.
Now
1 through 7.
Now Joseph could not restrain himself in the presence of all who stood before him, so he called out, "Remove everyone from before me." Thus no one remained with him.
So Joseph said, everybody else get out. Clear the room. Go ahead.
Thus no one remained with him when Joseph made himself known to his
So
brothers.
Joseph told his brothers, I'm Joseph, man. Go ahead.
He cried in a loud voice. Egypt heard, and Pharaoh's household heard. And Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? But his brothers could not answer him because they were left disconcerted before him.
Because they were terrified. They were scared for their life. Because now the same one that they put into a pit to die, and then to try to sell him, which they didn't accomplish that plan, is the same one. Right? The same one that now is standing before them. Now Joseph had the business deals with the Midianites and with the Ishmaelites. Midianites and the Ishmaelites, he was sold as a slave. So a lot of our people were also sold as slaves by the Midianites and by the Ishmaelites over into Egypt, into Sudan, all right, and into Ethiopia. And then those people were taken from East Africa and taken into India, taken into Saudi Arabia, all right, taken into Oman, into Yemen, all right. So these people were taken into slavery across the waters. But now Joseph is in Egypt, ancient Egypt, and his brothers are shocked now because they see that Joseph is alive. And then they wonder, man, what's Joseph going to do? Is he going to sentence us to death? Go ahead.
Then Joseph said to his brothers, come close to me, if you please.
Come a little closer.
And they came close, and he said, I am Joseph, your brother. It is me whom you sold into Egypt. And now be not distressed, nor reproach yourselves for having sold me here. For it was to be a provider that Elohim sent me here ahead of you. For this has been 2 of the hunger years in the midst of the land of Egypt, of the land. There are yet 5 years in which there shall be neither plowing nor harvest. Thus Elohim has sent me here ahead of you to ensure your survival.
So he knew that a famine was coming, so the Most High showed him, you need to be prepared for this famine, and showed him exactly what to do. A lot of our people, you know that America is falling, but you so busy making posts about it, you so busy making videos about it, that it's not, you're not putting yourself in a position to get what? What do you need to be doing? Put yourself in a position to get what? Get ready for it. Get prepared for it. You see? This is what Joseph did. Joseph put himself in a position to get ready for the famine because the Spirit of Yahweh came upon him and showed him what his dream meant. But we don't have any dream. We don't have the Spirit of Yahweh coming upon us for us to see that America and the rest of the world is headed for destruction. And the whole existence that you have right now is being supported by America and the other nations. Your food, your transportation, your fuel, your housing is all controlled right now by some Gentile somewhere. Most of our people. Most of our people. All right, so most of our people have resources being controlled by the Gawadim. So what we have to do as a people, we have to do what Joseph did by the Spirit of Yahweh. Find resources and make them resources ready to be used when we need them. All right, so while the brothers worried about Hispanic only and Negro only, a lot of y'all gonna starve anyway, man. A lot of y'all gonna starve anyway because you're too busy arguing, fussing, bickering, and fighting than to come together with the people that you do rock with to get ready for what's about to happen. Go ahead.
Thus Elohim has sent me ahead of you.
So Elohim sent Joseph years before to do what?
To ensure your survival.
To make sure that y'all lived. Go ahead.
In the land, and to sustain you for momentous deliverance.
You see that? So you thinking it's something bad. But who's to say that we not over here in the Eastern Hemisphere, over by Turkey, Georgia, across from Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Israel, right near Iraq.
Right.
Iraq is right across east from us. India's not too far either. Who's to say we not here for other brothers and sisters that want to be where we are and do what we're trying to do and serve the Most High with other Israelites, with our own food, with our own housing, with our own water, with our own sheep, our own goat, our own guinea fowls and quails. Who's to say? Our own turkeys. Who's to say? And dare I say, our own chickens and pigeons, doves to eat. Who's to say? You see that? Because what's going to happen is going to take place around the whole world. This famine that Joseph is in charge of managing is taking place all over the kingdom, the whole territories. And the same famine, when we read in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15, it's going to be a famine that hits the whole world again. The whole world going to be hit with a famine, shortage of food, because the resources are going to drop. But in 2nd Ezra chapter 2, it says that the other nations shall have nothing, and you're going to have everything. Where they're going to be envious. I mean, they're going to be jealous of what we have, but they won't be able to do anything against us. So while everybody's on, while you playing video games or on social media or looking at cartoons or whatever, you remember, you got to stay focused on the days that are ahead of us, man, and take it seriously. Because even if it's not you, if you don't make it to see that day, for whatever reason, what about the rest of your family that's trying to live right? What about your children? You see that? All right, next reader.
All right, Shalom, President, and God for Inshallah. Imam Barak, Yabarka Kamiyam, Bashem Yahshai.
Yabaraka Kayahau Bashem Yahshai.
Okay, you take over from Genesis 45:8 to verse 27.
Genesis chapter 45, verse 8. And now it was not you who sent me here, but Elohim. He has made me father to Pharaoh, master of his entire household, and ruler throughout the entire land of Egypt. Hurry, go up to my father and say to him, so said your son Joseph, Elohim has made me master of all Egypt. Come down to me, do not delay. You will reside in the land of Canaan, and you will be near to me. You, your sons, your grandchildren, your flock, and your cattle, and all that is yours. And I will provide for you there, for there will be 5 more years of famine, so you do not become destitute, you, your household, and all that is yours. Behold, your eyes see as do the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that is in the mouth that it is my mouth that is speaking to you. Therefore, tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and all that you saw. But you must hurry and bring my father down here. Then he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. He then kissed all his brothers and wept upon them. Afterwards his brothers conversed with him. The news was heard in Pharaoh's palace, saying, Joseph's brothers have come. And it was pleasing in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of his servants.
Now what did the Most High say, man? Pharaoh didn't have no beef with us. That's when you go into Exodus 1 and say there arose a new king that knew not Joseph. And they were the ones that was oppressing us, right? That's why the Most High commands you in the book of Deuteronomy. He says, do not abhor the Egyptian, because you were a stranger in his land. That's what the Most High commanded. So are you worried about the Canaanites? You need to be worried about who is the Egyptians, and are you abhorring them? A lot of Egyptians made it over into West Africa. All right? A lot of them made it over into West Africa. Look at the language. Look at the religion. Okay? Look at the culture of ancient Egypt and who's engaging in those types of things now. You see? So when you go into West Africa, that's where a lot of the Egyptians went to. Some of the families that clinged on to the Yoruba family that the British renamed, there were 7 tribes, the British renamed them, called them all Yoruba. Some of them may be Israel, some of them may be Ham, Mizraim, right, ancient Egyptians. So Pharaoh and his people, man, respected the children of Israel at this time period. But then there arose a king that didn't know Pharaoh. Remember, we were in Egypt for 215 years. The whole sum total from from Abraham unto us coming up out of Egypt with the commandments from Moses was 430 years when you read the book of Galatians chapter 3, verse 17. So when you go into Exodus chapter 12 and 40, in the Bible you got, they cut some out of that. When you read the old Hebrew Bibles, it said that the sojourning of the children of Israel and their fathers in the land of Canaan and the land of Egypt was 430 years. 215 we spent in Canaan, and 215 we spent down in Egypt. All right, so now with Egypt, Moses was born right around that generation when they start oppressing us. You see that? So it wasn't like most of the time we was in Egypt, we were getting oppressed. Okay? So Moses left at 80. Moses left at 40, came back at 80. So that's 80 years we know of. And it's in that generation when they start to murder the babies. That's when they got desperate, started to murder the babies. Okay? They started to murder the babies. But we haven't come upon that time yet. Right now, we're still in a time period where the Egyptians, they're rocking with us. So all Hamites ain't bad in terms of social relationships with the children of Israel. A lot of their religions is bad. A lot of their personalities is bad. A lot of their idolatry is bad, but just in general, biblically speaking, there was not like all-out war waged against all Hamites all the time. You can't do that in the country. See, America protects y'all. America protects you. You can speak against anybody in America. Right?
Right.
You got freedom of speech over there. All right? You can't do that once you leave America no more, man. Once you leave America, you can't talk against people the way y'all talk against them on the street corners in America.
Can't do it.
Right? When you go outside of a country, when you surround... See, America is surrounded by Israelites. So we safe in America to speak what we want to speak. All right? You can believe if they start doing some old slaughter type stuff in America against certain people, it's going to be a whole bunch of other people coming over there. All right? That's what happened in the past. So what's the point I'm making? Once you get established and you are a political people, meaning you are a people that's together, united in a certain area, what did David do? What did David do when the king, what's it do in King Hunan? When King Hunan died, what did David do? David sent men entourage to pay their respects to the man because he died. And his son became the king. And his son listened to his advisors, and they were suspicious of David's intentions. And they disrespected David's men. And then David waged war against them, and then David won. All right? So these are, when you're dealing with the Moabites and the Ammonites, which were, which were on the southeastern part of Israel, when you look on the map. So we have a relationship with these Gentiles outside of the Torah. We did trade with them, okay? On the southeastern part of the Dead Sea area. That's where you run into Moab, okay? So we did trade with them. We did business with them. All right, we wasn't just like bullies and we just everybody do what we say and we're gonna run the whole. It wasn't like that. Okay, it wasn't like that. So Joseph now, this king, Pharaoh, they respectful of Joseph. They got all throughout Egypt. They got monuments about the history of what happened when the children of Israel left. Especially when you go to Karnak. They got history about what happened. It's on the walls. Go ahead. What verse?
Verse 17. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Say to your brothers, do this. Load up your animals and go directly to the land of Canaan. Bring your father and your households and come to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you will eat the fat of the land. And you are commanded to say, do this. Take for yourselves from the land of Egypt wagons for your small children and for your wives. Transport your father and come, and let your eye not take pity on your belongings."
So they said, man, don't even worry about the stuff you own. Go ahead.
"For the best of all the land of Egypt, it is yours."
You can have whatever you want in Egypt. Go ahead.
So the sons of Yasha'Allah did so.
So all the 12 tribes, well, all the 11 tribes, because remember we had children. Go ahead. They got everything together. Go ahead.
"And Joseph gave them wagons by Pharaoh's word, and he gave them provisions for the journey. To each of them he gave changes of clothing, but to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of clothing. And to his father he sent the following: 10 he-donkeys laden with the best of Egypt, and 10 she-donkeys laden with grain, bread, and food for his father for the journey. And he sent off his brothers, and they went. He said to them, do not become agitated on the way. They went up from Egypt and came to the land of Canaan to Jacob their father, and they told him."
So they came up to Canaan, all right, with the wagons, and they sending gifts going there, and then they got to bring all those gifts back. Man. But that's how happy Joseph was, and that's how respectful Pharaoh was to Jacob, which is Joseph's father. So when we came into Egypt, you understand? Remember. And we had servants in our households also. Some of these servants were Hebrews. Some of them were Egyptians. All right? There were servants in our households also, man. So when these servants came among us, they lived in the areas we lived at. And so when we came up out of Egypt, servants came with us too. You see? All right, go ahead. You stopping at 27.
Verse 25. They went up from Egypt and came to the land of Canaan to Jacob their father, and they told him, saying, Joseph is still alive, and that he is ruler over all the land of Egypt. But his heart rejected him, for he could not believe them.
So Jacob, Yaquab, didn't want to get his hopes up. Go ahead.
However, when they related to him all the words that Joseph had spoken to them, and he saw the wagons that Joseph had sent to transport him, then the spirit of their father Jacob was revived.
So now I think it's Joseph, because only my son Joseph going to do something that's wonderful and beautiful for me. And y'all got evidence and proof. Unlike that little raggedy, bloody coat that they brought him. Oh, Joseph dead, Daddy. Oh, I believe y'all. I don't believe y'all now. Anything about Joseph, I ain't believing y'all no more. You got to bring me evidence. So they brought the evidence. Here's the wagons. Here's everything he said. Bam. Now I believe it. And Jacob, Yaquab, our father, he's happy. Go ahead.
And Yasha'Allah said, how great, my son Joseph still lives.
What verse is that on there?
Oh, 28.
Okay. So now they went back to the land of Canaan. You know, now a lot of people say, well, the black Americans, they from the tribe of Canaan, they from the family of Canaan. You may have some misguided youths out there that believe that they are Canaanites. You may have some misguided people that say, oh, they're Canaanites or they're Moors or things of that nature. But the Moors are Israelites. The Moors are not Canaanites. But the point is, I'm making, there's no place in the whole Bible prophecy where it says that Canaan is going to follow Israel on slave ships into captivity and then do evil stuff to them. Somebody just made that up. Somebody just made that up. Out of all the nations, why is it got to be the Canaanites? Specifically the Canaanites. You got Canaan, right? You got Cush, you got Mizraim, you got Moab, you got Ammon. You see that? It's a racist thing. Oh, because the Canaanites were black like the Israelites, so that's why. So it's just, okay, you look like you maybe, you don't know what this would kill, you don't know what a Canaanite looks like.
Right.
You're going to say the black Americans are Canaanite. What does a Canaanite look like? Where's the modern Canaanites in their own territories? And what racial, if you want to look that way, or cultural, all right, or any other kind of comparison do they have with the Israelites that came into America in captivity, bondage, and slavery? So if you went through them curses, can't nobody call you no Canaanite. Because the Most High said these things are going to happen to the children of Israel, not the Canaanites. All right, next reader. What is it? Yeah, you can do that one. Chapter 28, verse 28 through 7. What? Verse 28 through 7. Go ahead.
And Yasha'Allah.
No, not him. Tell him. Yeah, he can do it.
Amaduma. Barak.
Yabarakaka Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Come. All right, 28 through 7. Where we at now?
Chapter 45, verse 28.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, man.
And Israel said, how great my son Joseph still lives. I shall go and see him before I die.
So this is the love he had for himself. For his son. He said, man, after I see Joseph, I can die. All right? Meaning now he know what? Everything's going to be all right. I can die in peace now. And go ahead. Kala Shara. Debar Yahweh. Na'isha. Wa Nashemai. All that Yahweh said.
What we do in here.
What we do in here. Go ahead.
So Israel set out with all that he had, and he came to Beersheba, where his slaughtered Sarif.
So Beersheba in the territory of Judah, which is Beersheba today, right? Which is Beersheba today. All right, when you go on just kind of southeast of Ashkelon, all right, and then just kind of it's kind of just a little bit it's kind of northwest of where Dimona is, which is not Jerusalem, by the way. Jerusalem is on the upper part of the Dead Sea, or the Salt Sea, as people like to call it, but the Bible calls it the Dead Sea, right? So Jerusalem is at the upper end of the Dead Sea where the Jordan River comes. Jerusalem is not at the bottom or the middle of the Dead Sea, where the little wadis and springs of the desert pop up. Okay? You gotta, people funny, man. Hey, oh, this is the Jordan River down here by the Dead Sea. Well, follow the source of it. See, the Bible tells you where the Jordan River started at and where it came down from when you read the Bible. So just follow it and see where it goes what the Bible says. The Bible tells you where the Jordan River was at in comparison to Jerusalem, and where Beersheba was at compared to Jerusalem. Just just do your research before you just believe everybody in the desert saying, first, Yahweh already warned us about people in the desert screaming something. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh already warned us about that.
Don't believe him.
And here you did have a man in the desert. This was funny about it. You had a man in the desert saying he was the Messiah. Exactly what the Messiah told us not to follow. And I love my brothers and sisters, right? Down in Demona and Telerod. But Yahweh told us specifically, somebody in the desert saying they're the Messiah, believe it not. So you go into the Negev desert and somebody saying they're the Messiah and you believe it. Yahweh said don't believe it. I'm going to trust in the real Messiah, Yahweh HaMashiach. They came saying they were the Mashiach now. The old Mashiach time is up. I'm the real Mashiach. All right, but that's not true according to the prophecies in the scriptures. All right. So now they in the desert by Beersheba. All right, or Beersheba. All right. And our father Jacob, he's doing some sacrifices to the Most High. All right, he's happy, and they're going to be preserved from this famine. All right, go ahead.
Sacrifices to the God of his
Elohim
of his father Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
Elohim spoke to Israel in
Yasha'Allah
in night vision.
So he spoke to him in like a vision, like a trance, showing him something. Go ahead.
And he said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, here I am.
He said, Yaakov. He said, here I am. Yaakov said, I'm right here. Go ahead.
And he said, I am the Elohim of your father.
Right.
Have you no fear of
descending
to Egypt?
Don't be afraid to go into Egypt. Go ahead.
For I shall
establish
you as a great nation.
So Yahweh is going to make us a great nation in captivity. So all these things that happen in American history, all right, the stoplight, refrigeration, air conditioning, the spacesuit, all right, the cartridge for video games, all right, the gas mask. All these things were invented by Judah, Yasha'Allah, not Canaanites. Not Canaanites. Blood plasma transfusion. The first successful American open heart surgery. Israelites, not Canaanites. So we had to say that because the Most High is going to make us a great nation even in our captivity, where the enemies are afraid of us. Go ahead.
There I shall descend with you to Egypt, and I shall also surely bring you up to, and Joseph shall place his hand on your eyes.
So he said, I'm going to bring you, talking about the children of Israel, because Jacob passed away in Egypt. You see, that's what he said, I'm going to bring you up. He's talking about the seed of Jacob is going to be brought up out of Egypt, which means that they're not going to just be absorbed into the population of the Egyptians. You see that? So Canaan was not absorbed into the population of the children of Israel ever in history, hiding amongst us. All right? So you brothers that's teaching this wickedness and foolishness, man, because you got butt hurt by an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. Now you want to say that all black people or just the bad ones are Canaanites. Well, guess what? In every family, you got good people and bad people. You can't cherry pick based on your own personal experiences who is and who ain't an Israelite. Right? I got Issacharites that would show me the utmost love, and they got Issacharites that did me kind of grimy and dirty too. All right? I got Levites that show me utmost love. I got Levites that did me kind of grimy and dirty too. I got Gadites that showed me love and Gad that did me grimy. I can't say that, oh, the ones that did me grimy, those are heathens. The ones that did me nice, those are the Gentiles. Those are the Israelites. They nice. Because everybody know that Israelites is the most nice, kindest, hospitable, and favorite, most loving people on the planet Earth. And that's why the Most High kicked our behind out of Israel, right? Because we were just so nice and kind and loving toward each other. Oh, we pity. You gonna know? Yeah. What's wrong with you, brother? You on the street, man? Come on into my house, man. Because we know that when we go all throughout the streets of Judah, all throughout the neighborhoods of Issachar, all throughout Central America, there's no homelessness, right? Because they all just love each other in Jamaica. They all love each other in the Dominican Republic. No, Israel is evil and Israel is nice. You can't say because a person was bad that makes them a Canaanite or a Spaniard.
Or the whole race.
Or the whole nation. That whole nationality is a tribe within itself that's been reestablished as under a Gentile named tribe, a Gentile named nation. But they still Israelites. And we got to get over the mess that we're going through as a people right now. All right, go ahead, keep reading.
So Jacob arose from Beersheba, the sons of Israel transported.
So they got up everything together and they ready to go. So they transported who?
Jacob, their father.
We transported our father, go ahead.
As well as their young child.
The children, go ahead.
And wives.
Our wives, go ahead.
And the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to transport him.
So everything that Pharaoh sent up to get us down there, we filled it up.
They took their livestock.
So we took the cattle, go ahead.
And their wealth. So
everything we had that was of value to us, valuable like currency, silver, gold, okay? Special furniture type ornament pieces. Right, so we took all these things down there. It don't sound like a poor people to me, do it? No. It don't sound like sound like a people that got a lot of possessions and resources.
And cattle.
So the cattle, goat, sheep. Go ahead.
Wagons which Pharaoh had sent to transport him, they took their livestock and their wealth which they had amassed, and
so they were saving, and they had things to use, to physical things that they had been saving up that was of value. There was a value, and that's the same thing our people need to do now. Take your money and get silver. Take your money and get real silver and real gold. Because that's going to be the last thing to collapse and fall, is the silver and the gold. After a while, that ain't going to be worth nothing. Okay?
In the land of Canaan, and they came to Egypt.
Right.
Jacob and all his offspring.
So Jacob and all his descendants came with him. Go ahead.
His sons and grandsons with him. His daughters and granddaughters and all his offsprings he brought with him to Egypt.
So he took the whole family. Nobody said, well, Father, I think that I want to pursue my career as a tree climber. I want to be a professional tree climber. So I'm going to stay in Canaan. I want to be a professional tree climber. Everybody went together, man. So the family sticks together. The family stuck together. The family stuck together. So the servants, the children, the granddaughters, the grandsons, everybody went into Egypt together. Nobody was left behind. All right, go ahead. No, you finished, right? That's verse 8. Okay, Marty, 8, verse 8 to 27. Yeah, but I can tell you how about Shem Yahshua. 8 to 27.
Now these are the names of the children of Yasha'alim.
Now we get into some good stuff too. Some more good stuff. Here's the names. Go ahead.
Who were coming to Egypt. Jacob and his children.
Jacob and his churns.
Jacob's firstborn, Reuben.
Reuben, which is the native people of Florida, are the tribe of Reuben. Go ahead.
Reuben's sons.
The Mikasuki, the Hitachi, the Appalachi, and then the conglomeration of some of them Seminoles too. Oh, well, the Creeks and the Creeks and the Choctaws, and they came together to make up the Seminoles. Okay. Well, that's like saying when the slave ships came over, that they had to be all the same tribe because they got off the same slave ship. The Most High divide and puts together according to his spirit, man. The ones they brought to America was Judah. The ones they brought to Mexico, Issachar. And as a nation, we have to establish and declare these things so we can put it out there. Once we put these words out there, all right, the Most High allows these things to be bound in heaven. All right, so Reuben is the father of the people that were in kind of like southern Georgia area, South Carolina type of contact, everything that touches Florida around that area, and then that little panhandle of Florida down there, all right? And then the peninsula of Florida, all of that was the tribe of Reuben, Ra'aban. Go ahead.
Palu, Hanok, Palun, Hezron, and Carmi. Simeon's sons, Jemuel.
So Simeon, Shemaiwan are the people in the Dominican Republic, the light skin and the dark skin, curly hair and the straight hair. They all Simeon. Go ahead.
Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul.
And Shaul, who?
The son of the Canaanite woman.
So his mother was a Canaanite, Shaul. So Judah had a Canaanite baby. And then Simeon had Canaanite children with a Canaanite woman also that was still Israelites. But that person isn't a bastard, a mamzer, because his mother was a Canaanite, which is another lie that's floating around. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Levi's sons, Gershon.
Levi, which are the ones in Haiti. The ones in Haiti. The ones that's high yellow, that y'all like to call blanc, but it's not French. The ones that's light-skinned, high yellow Haitians, they're Levi. The ones that's grimel or the ones that's mulat, those are Levites with straight hair and with curly hair. Big those right there. With straight hair and curly hair. Those are all the tribe of Levi. Stop looking at, oh, you look Negro or you look Indian. You can't be Issachar, right? You can't be Simeon. You can't be Judah because your complexion is different.
It's not by
well, how do you know how the ancient Israelites look? I'm still waiting to see a picture. I've never seen a family portrait of Jacob and his 4 wives and his 12 sons and his daughter. Where's that family portrait that you ignorant people are using saying that this is what an Israelite looks like? Where's that family portrait at? You trying to tell me that you got a nation of people, you listening to me? In 700 BC, the northern kingdom of Israel was divided and went into Assyria in slavery, right? Judah started to come into slavery, Benjamin and Levi. Slavery started to happen in about 1451 when the Portuguese came off the west coast of Africa and started taking slaves. So 1451. So let's do basic math. 14 plus 7 is what? 21. So how many thousands of years is that? 1,400 years plus 700 years is how much? So you mean to tell me that his family and my family get separated on opposite ends of the earth for 2,100 years, and we're going to come back together and look exactly the same? Impossible. Something sounds fishy about that story. And then you're going to say, well, no, man, the original ones look like me. And I'm going to say, no, the originals look like me. And then I'm going to say, well, you ain't the original one, so you ain't the Israelite. And then he's going to say, well, you ain't the original one, you ain't the Israelite. And then we're going to just bicker and fuss over that. Well, I'm an Israelite, but I don't think you are. Well, I'm an Israelite, but I don't think you are. You see that? So now we're going to just divide away from each other, causing more division. You've been separated for 2,000 years, Yasharallah. Of course you can expect for there to be some type of differences in appearance between you. But what I was always curious about is that how did Judah, Benjamin, and Levi end up looking like their host population in Africa? Remember, y'all was around the Hamites for over over 1,400 years. It went down in 70 AD. All right, you was down amongst them for over a millennium. A millennium. 1,000 years is a millennium. So use it for 1,000. You mean to tell me that y'all wasn't dealing with them Hamite women around then? That's what you're trying to tell me. You mean to tell me that Judah, Benjamin, and Levi was in Africa for over 1,000 years and didn't touch nan Hamite woman?
Impossible.
When you see that they doing it in the Bible before we even get into Egypt. Okay. Abraham was having babies with Hagar. Judah was having babies with Tamar, which was a Canaanite, and Simeon is having babies by a Canaanite woman right here. So you mean to tell me that y'all were in West Africa for over 1,000 years and y'all wasn't having babies with none of them Hamite women? No alliances with the Hamite men. Nothing. Just totally isolated. Just totally, there's no interaction whatsoever. Come on, man, get out of here. I guarantee you. Let me take you into West Africa right now. And you stay there for 1,000 years and see what your family ends up looking like after you leave. I don't care if you look like me or look like him. After 1,000 years of being there, you're going to interact with the people. We see it happening all throughout the Bible in this very short time period. From Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, you got Judah, which had babies. The line of Yahushua came from a Hamite woman. The Arabs come from a Hamite woman. All right? And now you see some of Simeon come from a Hamite woman. So these people are still Israelites, though. How do we know they're Israelites? If they fit the prophecies of the Bible, that makes them an Israelite. But go ahead, continue.
Levi's sons.
Levi, which is the so-called Haitians today, mainly the people in Haiti. Dark skin, light skin, curly hair, straight hair, don't matter. You were a Levite, your father was in Haiti. Fathers come from the island of Haiti, you were Levite. Go ahead.
Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Judah's sons.
Judah, mainly dealing with the so-called black Americans that came into slavery, into America. Light skin, dark skin, curly hair, straight hair. Y'all don't know enough about genetics about genes, about the way the human body works, to let the white man tell you, well, you don't look like you my people. So y'all must not be the same people. Because y'all look different than me. What scripture is that? You don't think that Reuben, Simeon, Levi, you think that all Noah's sons look the same, but they had the same father? Let's just take that right there real quick. Noah had 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. How did they all look different? They had the same father. How do we get all these different people on the planet Earth now? From one man, which is who? Noah, right? True or false? So you tell me that Noah family can look different than everybody else. All just from 3 sons. But now the 12 tribes of Israel, got to be what? Cookie cutter, they all look the same.
Same mold.
Everybody looks the same mold. Just Israelite. Israelite. Why the Most High got 12 different jewels for the 12 tribes of Israel on the breastplate if everybody's the same? Different personalities, different physical looks. These are little clues you see throughout the Bible. Why did the Most High just got onyx, 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 if all 12 tribes is black? Why you got 12 different stones? Because it's 12 different representations of the 12 different people. The 12 sons of Israel. And then Joseph broke off into 2 tribes, righteously, Manasseh and Ephraim. All right. So here we have Judah, so-called black Americans. Go ahead.
Onan, Shalom, Perez, and Zerah. Where and Onan had died in the land of Canaan.
Right.
And Perez's sons were Hezron and Hamul.
And that's the line that Yahushua comes from. Go ahead.
Issachar's sons.
Issachar dealing with Mexico. Mainly the people in Mexico, in the central parts of Mexico. What they call southern Mexico is mainly Zebulun. Northern Mexico is mainly the Gadites. Okay? So Issachar. Go ahead.
Tola, Puva, Lov, and Shimron.
Okay, so these are the families of Issachar. Now, the ones that y'all call Afro-Mexicans, those are Issacharites also. And I've been telling brothers that for years, man. You can't get caught up on a complexion or a color kick and then say, well, they must be a different tribe because they got a different color skin than I got. They got a different kind of nose than I got. They got a different kind of hair. Well, where's the art? I'm waiting for somebody to produce the biblical checklist to what an Israelite looks like. The Bible don't say all Judah got hair like wool. The Bible said that Yahushua and Yahweh had hair like wool. Right? That's what the Bible said. The Bible said Yahushua's feet was like there was a color of burnt brass. The Bible don't say all 12 tribes, Issachar, Reuben, Ephraim, Judah, is going to look like that. We know Noah had one look. Noah looked a certain way. But how do we know that? How do we know what Noah looked like? You ever looked at some white people's beards? If you look at a white man's beard real closely, it got little crinkles in it like it's some nap. Straight hair and then like some nap on his beard. And there's some people that when they hair is dry, it's straight. And then you wet it and it draws up and it gets real frizzy. You don't know what the Most High is doing inside people's DNA. You don't know what the Most High got going on. So you can't look at something like, well, you're not an Israelite because this right here. If the Most High scattered us through the 4 corners of the earth amongst the nations, how are we going to stay monolithic across the globe? And last I checked, Africa was not one end of the earth to the other. Africa was not the 4 corners of the earth. Africa is a place where Israel was scattered. We were scattered into Asia also, into Australia, into New Zealand also, into South America, North America also, into the Pacific Islands also. We were scattered in all of these different places. And it's really arrogant of Judah and Simeon and Ephraim and Issachar to say, well, all Israelites must look like us. But we got all these different variety of tribes right here. We're just using the Bible. Go ahead.
Zebulun's sons, Sered, Elon, and Jahiel.
Jalil or Jahil?
Jahiel.
Okay, so Zebulun is going to be the people in southern Mexico all the way down to Panama. So the Mayans and all other indigenous groups from southern Mexico down to Panama. All right, that includes the southern Veracruz, eastern Oaxaca, Campeche, okay, Campeche, Veracruz, southern Veracruz, Tabasco, all right, Quintana Roo, all right, Yucatan, and then going into Belize, Guatemala, and then El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and then going into Panama. Those are the tribes of Zebulun. Go ahead.
These are the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob in Padan-aram, in addition to Dinah, his daughter. All the people, his sons and daughters, numbered 33. Gad's sons.
So Gad is the so-called North American Indians. That's my tribe, the tribe of Gad. And northern Mexico is the tribe of Gad also. I've been down there. I've been to the reservations. I talked to the people. I met with them. All right. Well, not everybody, but the Kiliwas reservation. And talk with them brothers and sisters down there. Go ahead.
Zyphion, Hagi, Shuni, Esbon, Eri, Arodi, and Areli.
Now, some of the Eri family went into Nigeria. Then somehow, some kind of way, they made their way over there. Well, they're not Israelites. Well, you prove they ain't. They say they are, and they got their records and they got their history. They say they are. Now, you do the research, you disprove it. We can't just take you at what you say. They saying that they are. And they got records to show that they are. Well, they wasn't in captivity. We went in captivity already under the Assyrians. We already went in captivity before Judah went in captivity. 722 BC, we was taken into captivity. Now, if the Most High chose to shorten our captivity, or not, if the Most High chose to not make that the most world famous captivity, then that's his choice. You can't knock it. Go ahead.
Asher's sons.
Now, Asher is the big tribe. Asher is the biggest tribe in Israel, you ask me. Because Asher is Uruguay, Paraguay, Brazil, Colombia, okay, Venezuela, Bolivia, Peru, and Ecuador. And then you got some of the families from Guyana, Suriname, and French Guyana that are Israelites also. I mean, not that are Israel, but that from the tribe of Asher also. So Asher is a big tribe, with Brazil being the biggest country, the concentration of Asherites. So all those so-called black Brazilians, they're not from the tribe of Judah, they're from the tribe of Asher. If you talk to the brothers, you see, a lot of y'all don't talk to these people that you claiming are from the tribe of Judah or whatever. When you talk to them, you see that their spirit is not like the people of Judah. They have a different energy about them. Talk to one that's indigenous, so-called, and one that came on a slave ship, so-called. They got the same, they vibe the same. Now, is that because they live in the same area? Quite possibly. But it's not up to me to say that you're not an Israelite because you came off the slave ship in West Africa. That's racial. That's prejudice. That's racist. Well, you're not an Israelite because you're not black enough. Your nose is too straight. Your hair is too long. You're not an Israelite. All right, go ahead.
Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, Beriah, and their sister Sarah, and Beriah's sons, Heber, and
Now, right there, now they named the sister too. They named the sister. So it's quite obvious here that an Asherite woman is worth mentioning. So it's quite obvious here that an Asherite woman was very worth mentioning. She must have been, I'm just speculating, having a little fun on the Shabbat. Must have been a beautiful sister. Oh, and then we had a sister too. You know about my sister, man? I'm Sarah. I'm Sarah's brother. Oh, you Sarah, brother? She ain't get married yet? You see that? All right, go ahead.
Malchiah. These are the sons of Zilpah,
Right.
whom Laban had given to Leah, his daughter. These she bore to Jacob, 16 people. These are the sons of Rachel, Jacob's wife. Joseph and Benjamin.
Joseph, which is the Ephraimites in the east, Puerto Rico, and then the Manasseites west, which is Cuba. So Ephraim and Manasseh are Joseph's sons, which is the so-called Puerto Ricans as Ephraim Apartium, and the so-called Cubans as Manasseh, Manasseh. Okay? Benjamin, right? Benjamin is the so-called West Indies, right? From Barbados all the way, west into Jamaica, and then going up into the Bahama Islands. Now, most of Benjamin's islands were inhabited by Danites before Benjamin and before Esau got there. It was Danites on those islands first. I'm talking Trinidad. All right. I'm talking about the Snakes Key in Bahamas. Okay. I'm talking about Dominica. Especially the eastern islands. Now Jamaica, those was you're dealing with more like Simeon and Ephraim and Manasseh, kind of sharing those islands right there. But when you go into like the Bahamas Islands, those was Danites there before the white man got there and stole that. Virgin Islands, Danites were in those islands too. That whole snake-shaped island was occupied by Danites. All right, go ahead.
To Joseph were born in the land of Egypt.
Right.
Whom Asenath, daughter of Potiphar, chief of On, bore to him.
Now this is another Hamite woman. This is another Hamite woman that was the mother of who? Mother of who? Ephraim and Manasseh. She's a Hamite, Egyptian. So this whole thing where I hate and I don't like the Egyptians and the Hamites, you can feel that way, but obviously our fathers didn't feel that way. Obviously our fathers didn't feel that way.
Or Caesar.
All right? Even now, they don't feel that way now. All right? They don't feel that way now. You see that? So the point that I'm making is this. The Most High told us not to deal with these other nations, but these we see are exceptions to that condition before that law was even given, actually. All right, so Joseph is the father of Ephraim, Puerto Rico, and Manasseh, Cuba. What's it for, though?
I want to save it or bookmark it.
All right, go ahead.
Manasseh and Ephraim, Benjamin's sons, Bela, Bechor.
So Benjamin's son, which is the West Indies, the brothers in the West Indian Islands, the Antilles, as they call the Lesser Antilles mainly. In your Greater Antilles Islands, you're going to find Turks and Caicos, which is primarily occupied by Benjamin. And you're going to find Jamaica, which is primarily occupied by Benjamin. And Puerto Rico is the break of the of the Greater Antilles Islands, and the U.S. Virgin Islands is the break for the Lesser Antilles Islands. All right, so that's the break between Ephraim, Simeon, and Benjamin. I mean Ephraim, Simeon, and Cuba. And look, in the ancient times, man, the Cubans and that's what I'm saying about a lot of you brothers, man, that's on this Negro only, Hispanic only, Native only. When you go to these places, man, our people are like this.
Join hand in hand.
In other words, when you go into Brazil, you go into Cuba, and you go into a lot of parts of Mexico, the indigenous population and the so-called black population, just like this. Hand in glove, man. Brothers working together.
For those that don't know the history, when Fidel Castro, back in the early 60s, was coming to speak at the UN, he didn't go sleep in any of the so-called white man's hotels. You know where he slept at? He slept up in Harlem, at a famous hotel up in Harlem. He was invited by Adam Clayton Powell, who was a representative of the Harlem district of New York. And he came up there and he slept in a New York hotel because he was fearful.
Reverend Adam Clayton Powell.
Right. Representative Adam Clayton Powell. All right. And he slept up in a hotel in Harlem. You know why? Because he knew if he had slept in a white man's hotel, they would have assassinated him. All right. So this whole beef about we're not joined with the Spanish-speaking tribes, and the Spanish-speaking tribes are not joined with us, you need to check your history, okay? We were oppressed together, and we joined together against that oppression. So I don't know where you brothers get this animosity from, but you need to take it back for a refund, because the nation must come together. The house of Israel and the house of Judah must come together in order to fulfill prophecy. Okay? One stick of Ephraim and one stick of Judah shall be joined together by the Ruach of the Heavenly Father. All right? So the greater cause is for both tribes to come together, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. All right? What verse you at?
21.
Okay. We good?
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Chris, man? I didn't even see you say nothing, man. I can't see the camera. I can't see the screen. Much love to you, man.
Genesis 46, verse 21.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
Bela, Betron, Ashbel, Geram, Naaman, Ahi, Rosh, Mupim, Hupim, and Ard. These are the sons of Rachel, who were born to Jacob, 14 persons in all.
Done.
Dan's sons, Hushim, Naphtali's sons, Jaziel.
Break down Dan.
All right, so the sons of Dan, okay, which today are the Garifuna Indians that you see in the Caribbean islands, Belize, over in Guatemala, okay, because Dan was the merchants and they traveled to the different coastlines trading with the different areas of people in those coastlines. All right, so these are the sons of Dan. Go ahead, verse 23 again.
Dan's sons, Hushim, Naphtali's sons, Jaziel, Guni, Jezer, and Shelam. These are the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban had given to Rachel his daughter. She bore these to Jacob, 7 people in all. All the persons coming with Jacob to Egypt, his own descendants, aside from the wives of Jacob's sons, 66 persons in all. And Joseph's sons who were born in Egypt numbered 2 persons. All the people of Jacob's household who came to Egypt, 70.
So 70 souls came with to Egypt.
Yeah.
What verse is that?
Verse 27.
Okay.
Pharaoh had them in Goshen, and they arrived in the region of Goshen. His father in Goshen said to Joseph, "Now I can die after having seen your face,
Beautiful family reunion.
because you are still alive." And Joseph said to his
And look,
brothers,
and brother trying to say, oh, you know how evil that is? to want to murder your brother, and they were still brothers. So that's how ignorant a lot of our people sound when they try to say, well, this guy must be an Edomite because he's Mexican, but he's mean. Or this guy must be a Canaanite because he's black, but he's mean. He can't be an Israelite. Well, Joseph's brothers did the most evil thing you could try to do to a man, which is murder him.
Right.
How much more evil can you get? Besides, I'm gonna murder you. Why? Because I don't like your because I don't like your dream. I'm gonna murder you. Who you think you are? But it was ordained of the Most High power was Yahweh. Yahweh had ordained for Joseph to be used to deliver the children of Israel.
Is that brick working?
I'm sorry?
That white brick on the easel.
I don't know why.
Oh, good. I'm gonna need it when I leave.
This is not really fitting tight into the space on here, so.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. Hold this phone for a minute. Gotta get another base. Well, nah, ain't no more bases, but. That makes sense. Right there. He in 31?
No, verse 31. Read that again.
What was his cutoff? What verse you start at? What verse did you start at? What verse you in now? Let me see that. Your 27 is your last verse. So I already asked you 28 to 10. Okay? 28 to 10.
Genesis chapter 46, verse 31. And Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, I will go up and tell Pharaoh, and I will say to him, my brothers and my father's household who were in the land of Canaan have come to me. The men are shepherds, for they have been cattlemen, their flocks and cattle, and everything they own, they have brought. And it shall be, when Pharaoh summons you and says, what is your occupation? Then you are to say, your servants have been cattlemen from our youth until now, both we and our forefathers, so that you may be able to settle on the region of Goshen, since all shepherds are abhorrent to Egyptians.
Why was the shepherds abhorrent to the Egyptians? You gotta ask yourself, did the Hyksos come before or after this? You see that? People just say, oh, the Hyksos was Israelites. Okay, and what? Hyksos was wicked and evil. With whoever they were. Okay? Go ahead.
Kalashara,
the Bar Yahweh, Na'isha, Wanashama.
All they Yahweh said,
what we doing here.
Genesis chapter 47, verse 1. Then Joseph came and told Pharaoh, and he said, my father and my brothers, their flocks, their cattle, and everything they own, have arrived from the land of Canaan, and they are now in the region of Goshen.
So land of Goshen was up there by the like the Nile Valley area. Not the Nile Valley, but the Nile Delta area. It was a very fertile area. It was ideal for raising cattle. Lush, green. Right? So that's where they were gonna stay at. Go ahead.
From the least of his brothers, he took 5 men and presented them to Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to his brothers, what is your occupation? They answered Pharaoh, your servants are shepherds, we as well as our forefathers. And they said to Pharaoh, we have come to sojourn in the land, since there is no grazing for your servants' flocks.
David was a shepherd. Yahweh shall always speak about shepherds. All right, our fathers are shepherds. How come we not shepherds today? Go ahead.
For the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. Now, if you please, allow your servants to dwell in the region of Goshen. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, saying, your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is before you.
You can dwell wherever you want to dwell, but go ahead.
In the best part of the land settle your father and your brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Let them settle in the region of Goshen. And if you know that there are capable men among them, appoint them as chamberlains over the livestock that belong to me.
So make them rulers over my flocks So y'all immediately have executive government jobs now. Go ahead.
Then Joseph brought Jacob, his father, and presented him to Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Jacob,
Jacob did what?
Blessed Pharaoh.
So how does Israelite man, Jacob, the father of the Israelites, how is he blessing this Gentile man? He blessed him because he was doing good to his family. That's easy to understand. Go ahead.
Pharaoh said to Jacob, How many are the days of the years of your life? Jacob answered Pharaoh, The days of the years of my sojourns have been 130 years. Few and bad have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not reached the lifespans of my forefathers in the days of their sojourn.
So he said, I've had a hard life, and it seems short. Fast and hard is how my life seems. Go ahead.
Then Jacob blessed Pharaoh and left Pharaoh's presence.
Okay. All right, 11 through 27. Let's have Amari come back up. We know who you are. (11 to 27).
So Joseph settled his father and his brothers, and he gave them possession in the land of Egypt, in the best part of the land, in the region of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded. Joseph sustained his father and his brothers and all of his father's household with food, according to the children. Now there was no bread in all of the earth, for the famine was very severe.
So all the grain was being consumed and not even growing. The Most High caused it to stop before it even came to be. Go ahead.
The land of Egypt and the land of Canaan became weary from hunger. Joseph gathered all the money that was to be found in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan through the provisions that they were purchasing. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's palace. And when the money was exhausted from the land of Egypt and from the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph, saying, Give us bread. Why should we die in your presence? For the money is gone. And Joseph said, Bring your livestock, and I'll provide for you.
So it wasn't no freebies. Back in these days, life was hard and rough, and if you wanted to survive, it had to be you doing what it took to survive. So if you don't got no money, okay, give me your cattle. That's how they got through that. There weren't no freebies. There weren't any freebies in this story we're reading right here. Not to the common man. And of course, Joseph had a hookup in the government, so Joseph could hook his family up too, look out for his peoples. All right, go ahead.
In return for your livestock, if the money is gone. So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in return for horses, for the flocks of sheep, for the herds of cattle, and for the donkeys.
So Israel, through Joseph, is getting rich now, because he got his family in charge of the Pharaoh's flocks. So Pharaoh getting a piece of this pie too, remember. Pharaoh getting a piece of the pie, because Pharaoh told Joseph, put your brothers in charge of my animals. So when Joseph is getting all these animals coming in, remember, he's still working for Pharaoh. So Pharaoh got to get a chunk of that too. And Joseph's brother's the one that's in charge of it. Now go ahead.
Thus he provided them with bread for all of their livestock during that year. And when the year ended, they came to him in the next year and said to him, We will not withhold from my lord that with the money and flocks of the cattle have been exhausted to my lord. Nothing is left before my lord but our bodies and our land. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Acquire us and our land for bread, and we with our land will become serfs to Pharaoh, and provide seed that we may live and not die, and the land will become desolate, and the land will not become desolate.
So they want that grain. They can grind it up and make it into different types of cakes and patties and breads and everything. Like that.
Thus Joseph acquired all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for every Egyptian sold his field, because the famine had overwhelmed them, and the land became Pharaoh's. As for the nation, he resettled it by the cities, from one end to Egypt's borders to another.
So the people just gave their land up now for food. Go ahead.
Only the land of the priest did he not buy, since the priest had a stipend from Pharaoh.
A stipend?
Stipend from Pharaoh. And they lived off their stipend.
So they got food from Pharaoh, the priest did, so that's why they didn't have to go out and sell their land, because Pharaoh was already giving them food and stuff. Go ahead.
That Pharaoh had given them. Therefore, they did not sell their land. Joseph said to the people, "Look, I have acquired you this day with your land for Pharaoh. Here is seed for you."
So he understand that he was working for Pharaoh.
Come.
Sow the land. At the ingathering of your harvest, you will give a fifth to Pharaoh.
You say at the ingathering of your harvest, which is what? In the 7th month, generally speaking, for that part of the world. So in the 7th month, which is when we celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. The Feast of Tabernacles. So before they started to do that ingathering, when the famine, before the 7 years of plenty started, Joseph went out on the 1st of the month, of the 7th month, throughout all of Egypt, and blew the trumpet and told everybody, this is what we're going to do. Went throughout all the country and said, this is the plan, how we're going to preserve ourselves after these 7 years of plenty are finished. And that, when you read in the book of Psalms, chapter 81, verses 1 through 5, that is how we came about with the Most High said that he made that a law, a statute in Israel to blow that trumpet on the 7th day, on the first month of the 7th day. All right, I'm sorry, on the first day of the 7th month. The first day of the 7th month, which we call the memorial of the blowing of trumpets. Go ahead.
As seed for the field, and food for yourselves, and for those in your household, and to feed for your young ones. And they said, "You have saved our lives. May we find favor in your eyes, my Lord, and we will be servants to Pharaoh." So Joseph imposed it as a statute.
So Joseph made a law.
As a statute till this day regarding the land of Egypt. It was Pharaoh's for the 5th. Only the priests alone did not become Pharaoh's. Thus Yashala settled in the land of Egypt, in the region of Goshen.
So 20% of the land belonged to the Pharaoh. That was started by Joseph. So if you want to look at the history of Egypt, when the Hyksos came in, was that law in effect of the 20% of the land, which is a 5th part? If I take a 5th, which is 1 out of 5, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Or 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. 20%. All right. So 20% of the land was owned by Pharaoh, was established by Yawasap, Joseph, the father of the Puerto Ricans and the Cubans, the Cubanos. So he started that. So look at the history. When you look at the Hyksos, when you look at what happened in Egypt, when did that get set up as a law in Egypt? Joseph did that. Go ahead.
They acquired property in it, and they were fruitful and multiplied greatly.
All right, so that's verse 27. So now Israel start to get more abundant, start to multiply, start to have resources, possessions. All right. So now we start to come up. I go to the Haftorah. I just pulled it's at the Ezekiel chapter 37. Right? 37?
Yeah.
Ezekiel 37, 15.
It's 28.
15 to 28. I got it. We read this during class the other day. Go ahead.
The word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Now you, son of man, take yourself one wooden tablet and write upon it. For Judah and the children of Yashala, his comrades, take another wooden tablet and write upon it. For Joseph, the wooden tablet of Ephraim, and all the children of Yashala, his comrades, and bring close to yourself, one to the other, like a single wooden tablet, and they shall become one in your hand. Now when the children of your people say to you, Do you not tell us what these are to you. Speak to them. Thus says Yahweh, thus says Adonai Yahweh, behold, I take the wooden tablet of Joseph, which is in Ephraim's hand, and of the tribes of Yasharallah, his comrades, and shall place them with it together with the wooden tablet of Judah, and I will make them one wooden tablet, and they shall become one in my hand, and the wooden tablets upon which you will write shall be in your hand, in their sight. Then speak to them, thus saith Adonai Yahweh, behold, I take the children of Yasharallah from among the nations to which they went, and I will gather them from around it, and I will bring them to this point, to this soil.
So I don't know why they say tablets, because the Hebrew word is aitzah, which is like a stick or tree. So take them, one is for Ephraim, one is for Judah. Go ahead. So in the time of Ezekiel, we were split. We weren't together in the time of Ezekiel. Ezekiel was in the Babylonian captivity, and Israel had already been in captivity for almost 200 years out of Israel. 722, and then you talk about 586, the Babylonian captivity. All right, so we had already been gone for a long time. All right, so there was no people in their mind couldn't see all 12 tribes getting back together. It's like nobody can see it now because there's too much division. Nobody can see the 12 tribes of Israel coming back together now. But go ahead, finish reading. Closer. Go ahead.
I shall make them into a single nation.
The Most High said he's going to bring us back into one nation. Go ahead.
In the land upon the Yasharallah's hills, and a single king shall be for them, all as a king.
So we're going to go back into our land and we can have one king. Go ahead.
And they shall no longer be two nations.
We're not going to be two different kingdoms anymore. Go ahead.
No longer divided into two kingdoms again. They will no longer be contaminated with their idols and their abhorrent things, with all their rebellious sins. And I will save them from all their habitations in which they sinned. And I shall purify them, and they shall be for a people unto me. And I shall purify them, and they shall be for a people unto me. And I shall purify them, and they shall be, and I shall purify them, and I will be an Elohim unto them. My servant David.
Who?
David.
David, go ahead.
Will be king over them.
David, the king over Yasharallah. He's going to be the king over Israel. And Yahushua is going to be the king of kings. Yahushua can't be the king of kings if you don't have other kings. And how are we going to have a nation of Israel without having a king over the nation of Israel, but all the other nations going to have a king? We're going to be the scripture says we're going to be a kingdom of priests. Revelation says he's going to make us to be a kings and priests. Revelation 1:6 and Revelation 5 and 10 says that. So we're going to be kings, and David is going to be the king over Israel, king of the 12 tribes. All right, go ahead.
And there will be a single shepherd for all of them.
Which is David.
They will go in my ordinances and will observe my decrees and perform them. And they will dwell in the land that I give to my servant Jacob, within which your forefathers dwelt. And they shall dwell upon it, they, their children, and their children's children forever. And my servant David will be prince for them forever.
So David's going to be our prince, meaning our ruler, the one who struggles with us for the right.
Shall it be? And I shall place them, and I shall increase them, and I shall be for Elohim unto them, and they shall be unto me a people. So
we're going to worship him and praise Yahweh forever, and we're going to be his people forever. Go ahead.
Then the nation shall know that I am Yahweh, who sanctifies Yasharallah, when my sanctuary is among them forever.
Okay, so that's what we're going to know. Okay, all right, Yasha'an, Luke chapter 24, verse 30 through 48.
30 to 38.
Luke chapter 24, verse 30. Luke chapter 24, verse 30 through 48.
Luke chapter 24, verse 30. And it came to pass, as he sat at meat with them, he took bread and blessed it.
So this is Yahushua when he's about to get betrayed, all right, and crucified, more importantly. All right. Go ahead.
and rake, and gave to them, and their eyes were opened, and they knew him.
I'm sorry. This is after the resurrection. When we finished off last week when he had been walking with them, remember? He had been walking with them, and they didn't know who he was, and then they invited him in to eat with them. And then when he came in, he started eating with them. Go ahead.
And he vanished out of their sight.
And he disappeared. Once they said they realized who he was, right? And he disappeared. Ooh. All right, go ahead.
And they said to one another,
What they say?
Did not our heart burn within us while he talked with us by the way, and while he opened to us the scriptures? And they rose up the same hour and returned to Jerusalem, and found the 11 gathered together, and them that were with him, saying, The Lord is risen indeed, and hath appeared to Simon. And they told what things were done in the way, and how he was known of them in breaking of bread. And as they thus spake, Yahushua himself stood in the midst of them.
So now he just popped up again. What's up, y'all? Yahushua, man, can you appearing and disappearing on him? Oh, man, you scared the bejesus out of me, man. All right, go ahead.
And saith unto them,
What Yahushua say?
Peace be unto you.
Shalom lakam. That's what he said. Shalom lakam. Go ahead.
And they were terrified and affrighted.
And they were scared again. Go ahead.
And supposed that they had seen a spirit. And he said unto them, Why are ye troubled? And why do thoughts arise in your hearts? Behold my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Handle me.
They said, look, you can see the holes, man. What they did to me, it's me. I got the holes in my hand right here. I got the holes in my feet. It's me. Go ahead. Because he rose from the dead. Because of the faith he had in Yahushua that he would rise him from the dead. You know what kind of faith that takes? You know what kind of faith that takes, man? Okay, so what we gonna do? This the plan. You're gonna die, and then Yahweh gonna bring you back to life. You with it? You ready? Huh? You see that? I know nobody has that level of faith. So all these people they talking about, Egyptian this, Book of the Dead this, nobody had as much trust, faith, and honor toward Yahweh than his only begotten son, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. I don't care what nobody says. And that's why he deserved the praise and the glory and the honor also. Because he set the example for us, and he sits on the right hand of the Father, and we honor and we honor him. And we pray to the Father through him in his name because of who he is and what he's done. Okay?
For a spirit hath not flesh and bones, as ye see me have. And when he had thus spoken, he showed them his hands and his feet.
Right.
And while they yet believed not for joy, and wondered, he said unto them, Have ye here any meat? And they gave him a piece of broiled fish and of an honeycomb.
So fish that had been on the grill, fire over top of it, right? Broiled fish, and then some honeycomb. That's what they gave him to eat. Honeycomb, like the little wax from the bees with the honey inside of it. Go ahead. That's what they gave him.
And he took it and did eat before them. And he said unto them, These are the words which I spake unto you.
He spoke unto them, and he showed them all these things. He said, These are the things I said to you. Go ahead.
While I was yet with you.
Go ahead.
That all these things must be fulfilled.
So when you go into the book of Matthew chapter 5, verse 17, when he said he don't come to destroy the law, but to fulfill the law. Now he's telling you in Luke 24, verse what? 44, right? Telling you in Luke 24 and 44 what it means that he fulfills the law. Read that about fulfilled again. That all things what?
These are the words that I spake unto you while I was yet with you.
That all things what?
That all things must be fulfilled.
That all things must be fulfilled. What things fulfilled how? Go ahead.
Which were written in
all things must be fulfilled that are written about me. Where?
In the law of Moses.
In the law of Moses, the first 5 books, read.
And in the prophets.
And in the prophets, Ezekiel, Isaiah, Jeremiah, about him, read.
And in the Psalms.
And in the Psalms of David, the Psalms, the book of Psalms, read.
Concerning me.
Concerning me. That he fulfilled the prophecies, the characteristics, the descriptions that were written about him. That is how he fulfilled the law. He didn't fulfill the law to abrogate the law, to destroy the law, to do away with the law. He fulfilled the law by doing and meeting the prophecies in the law that were about him. Go ahead.
Then opened he their understanding.
Then he gave them a better understanding of everything that he was talking about. Read.
That they might understand the scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
And said unto them, thus it is written, and thus it behoved Hamashiach to suffer, and to rise from the dead the third day.
Right.
And that repentance and remission of sins.
Remission.
Mm-hmm. Of sins should be preached in his name among all nations.
So you among all nations. Because you don't know where are the lost sheep. He said preach what?
In his name among all nations.
Preach what?
That sin and remission of sins should be preached in his name.
Sin and remission of sin. What is sin? Transgression of the law. So you got to go to all nations and teach the people the law. And you can't just go and be like, well, you look like you might not. There's some Israelites that look like you, but there's a lot of Israelites that don't look like you, especially over here in the East where we are. Man, especially. We just become more comfortable when we see Israelites that look like us. Like I'll meet somebody that looks like a straight up Gentile, an Edomite, red and hairy. But then when you talk to that person and they start talking about their family, like, yeah, my grandfather looked like you. Same hair, everything. Came in from my great-grandfather came here as a slave from Sudan. And that's the stories that I run into a lot here. Or came as a slave from Sudan or a slave from Somalia. Came as a slave over to these places, man. You understand what I'm saying? So they not all gonna look like you as an Israelite. And I only can relax a little bit because they say that these people look like me. But then there's a lot of them that went under the curses and the prophecies also that look like you look and that don't look like you. So we got to judge it according to the prophecy. Okay, go ahead. So he said, go where?
And that sin, repentance and remission of sins should be preached in his name among all nations.
He said, go among all nations. So what are y'all stuck in America for? A little pocket of America got the whole world. All right? And that's why we came to Turkey. To preach sin and remission of sins by the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach in obedience to the commandments, laws, and statutes of Yahweh that he gave to Moses to all of the nations where we come across. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care if you're a Hindu or Buddhist. Once we start talking about these curses that came upon the children of Israel and you identify with them, then you go to the top of the class. If you don't identify with what we're talking about, then you go to the back. We keep on pushing. All right, go ahead.
Beginning at Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
And
so he said, begin at Jerusalem. Go ahead.
And ye are witnesses of these things.
And you are witnesses, right, of what he said is going to happen and who to preach it to in the world. All right, so that's what we got for today for the Shabbat. Finished. All right, that's the Torah, the Sabbath reading of the laws, commandments, and statutes. I might come. Amadwa, Barakwa, Yabaraka Kam Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Kwam Yahweh,
Kwam Yahweh,
Kwam Yahushai, Kwam Yasha'Allah, Kwam Yasha'Allah, Kwam Yasha'Allah, Yadi Mata, Amadwa Shabbat, Akwatin Amadwa, Amadwa Shabbat, Amadwa, Barakwa, Yashamar Kam Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Kwam Yahweh,
Kwam Yahweh,
Kwam Yahawashi, Kwam Yasha'Allah, Kwam Yasha'Allah, Kwam Yasha'Allah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Yadi Mata, Amadwa Shabbat, at ease, fall out. All right, so that's the Shabbat. Remember now, the next new moon is going to be January 23rd to January 24th over in the Western Hemisphere. And for us in the Eastern Hemisphere, January 24th to January 25th is going to be the new month. I'm talking about Nigeria. I'm talking about our brothers and sisters in France and over in England. I'm talking about the brothers in Turkey and in Israel, Jerusalem. All right, the brothers that are over in India. The new moon for us is going to be January 23rd to January 25th. Now, for the brothers and the sisters in America, North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean, the new moon is going to be the 23rd, January 23rd to January 23rd to January 24th. Okay. Let me verify that real quick. Let me check that one more again. Okay, so for Jerusalem, yeah, for us it's going to be the 24th to the 25th in Jerusalem, and for East Coast, Western Hemisphere, it's going to be the 23rd to the 24th. All right. So all praise to Yahweh Bashem, Hamashach Yahweh Shai. Love you all. Thank you for joining us for this presentation from representing Yahweh Shai, the Holy Spirit, wisdom, and the Torah, which are weekly Torah reading here in Turkey. Shalom Lakam. Hallelujah.